any case, let's see what happened after Marhab, because the action continues, right? So reports indicate Imam Ali alayhi salam killed Marhab and 8 other chiefs of the Khaybaris. And the others ran to their forts. So the Muslims came, they saw Marhab getting killed, that gave them a boost, so they came to support Imam Ali alayhi salam. While Imam Ali was in combat with some of the Khaybaris fighting, a Khaybari man struck Imam Ali on his arm such that his shield fell. So the Imam was holding the shield with his arm. He came to strike the Imam on his arm, but the shield or the armor fell. So now the Imam alayhi salam didn't have a shield. Another Khaybari man quickly stole the armor of the Imam. He stole the shield of the Imam alayhi salam. So now you're confronting all these fighters and you don't even have a shield. Assalamu alaikum. You don't even have an armor. What does Amir al-Mu'mineen do here? Anyone knows? No. The Imam does something more magnificent than that. So the Imam loses his shield, his armor, and they're attacking him. At that point, the Lion of Allah goes to the gate of Khaybar. With one hand, he pulls out the gate and he uses it as a shield in their face. That's what Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam does. He immediately turns to the fort, he pulls off the gate and uses it as a shield until the end of the fight. Do you know how heavy this shield was? When the Imam alayhi salam threw it on the ground later, 10 strong Muslim soldiers tried to flip the gate, just turn it upside down, flip it, they couldn't do so. Another narration says 40 men tried to lift the gate, they could not do so. One historical report says the gate was entirely made from stone. Like, can you imagine the heaviness of it? One narration says it had even iron in it. You have iron and stone. Like, who can lift something like that? One hadith from Imam Al-Baqir alayhi salam says that the Imam alayhi salam entered the fort with the gate on his back. He was carrying the gate, the door on his back, and the Muslims followed him. Then he threw the gate. Reports indicate that when the Imam threw the gate, it went 80 shibr. Shibr is a cubit or a handspan. That's like 40 feet. Imagine a gate 40 men can't lift. The Imam threw it 40 feet across. What kind of, power does Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam has? That's why the poet says about the 80 cubits, Aliyun rama bab al-Madinati Khaybar. Ali is the one who threw the gate of Khaybar. 80 shibran wafiyan lam yuthlami. 80 shibran, 80 cubits. So even poets have documented that. Now, Shaykh al-Mufid mentions another interesting hadith from Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam, in which the Imam says, I pulled off the gate of Khaybar and used it as a shield. After the end of the combat, I placed it like a bridge on a ditch which had been dug by the Jews. There was a ditch, you had to cross over the ditch to get to the main area of the fort. Now Muslims couldn't really cross, it was dangerous, you could fall, and the Jews had underground passageways, they knew how to go into the fort. So what does the Imam do to liberate the fort? He takes the gate, he throws it over the ditch, and it serves as a bridge, and so the Muslims easily cross into the fort and they liberate the fort. So subhanAllah, look at the power of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. A person asked the Imam alayhi salam, did you feel it heavy? The Imam says, I felt it to be as heavy as my shield. How does my shield feel when I carry it? That's how I felt when I was carrying the gate of Khaybar. Now, what was the power that Imam Ali used to lift the gate of Khaybar? When the Prophet ﷺ was asked about that, how did Ali lift the gate of Khaybar? This puzzled Muslims. The Prophet ﷺ stated, وَالَّذِي نَفْسِي بِيَدِهِ, I swear by the one in whose hands is my soul. لَقَدْ أَعَانَهُ عَلَيْهِ أَرْبَعُونَ مَلَكًا. 40 angels helped Ali ibn Abi Talib lift that gate. That's number one. Number two, When the Imam was asked, where did you get the strength from? This is what he replied. He said, I did not pull off that gate with human strength. I did it with the strength granted me by Allah, and on account of my firm faith in the Day of Judgment. It's my yaqeen that gave me that strength. Here's one other hadith mentioned by Al-Allama Al-Majlisi in the book Hayat Al-Qulub. He says, Ibn Babawayh, Shaykh Al-Saduq, narrates this. He narrates this from Al-Imam Ja'far Al-Sadiq alayhi salam, that in a letter Imam Ali sent to Sahal ibn Hunayf al-Ansari, he sends him a letter, and he mentions to him, he says, by Allah, when I uprooted the gate of Khaybar and threw it behind me to a distance of, X amount of cubits, 40 cubits or 40 feet, it was not my physical strength. Listen to the words of Imam Ali. I was supported by heavenly power, and myself was illuminated by the light of my Lord. I was like a lamp lit from another. Allama al-Majlisi says this is a sahih hadith. By Allah, if all the Arabs had joined together to fight me, I would have neither turned back nor fled. If I get an opportunity, I will strike off the heads of the hypocrites. And one who is careless of death is ever desirous of death. I desire death. This is Ali ibn Abi Talib. Who can scare me by fighting me? The Imam writes in this letter. So the Imam says this was not, human strength. Number 3, Umar specifically asked Imam Ali about the strength. It seems Umar was very puzzled. He was interested to know, where did you get the strength from? So he says to Imam Ali at Khaybar, listen to the words of Umar. قال يا أبا الحسن أو أبا الحسن لقد اقتلعت منيعا. You pulled a gate that's impossible to pull. وأنت ثلاثة أيام خميصا. And 3 days you're hungry. Imam Ali, for 3 days, he was hungry. He barely ate any food. It's like, how did you do that? فهل قلعتها بقوة بشرية? Did you lift the gate of Khaybar through a human power? فقال عليه السلام ما قلعتها بقوة بشرية. No, it was not a human power. ولكن قلعتها بقوة إلهية. Oh Umar, no, that was the power of Allah. And secondly, look at what the Imam's implying to Umar. وَنَفْسٍ بِلِقَاءِ رَبِّهَا مُطْمَئِنَّةً رَضِيَّةً. And with a nafs that's satisfied to meet its Lord and it has yaqeen. Maybe the Imam was indicating to him, Umar, you don't have that. Once you get that yaqeen, then you could do things like I can do. But honestly, when I hear this conversation between Umar and Amir al-Mu'mineen, I can't help but remember what happened to the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Believe me, they knew Imam Ali was instructed not to fight. Otherwise, for them to have seen him lift the door of Khaybar, who had the audacity to come near the house of Amir al-Mu'mineen? But they knew. They knew the Prophet had instructed him, oh Ali, be patient. Otherwise, they didn't have that courage to confront Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. Yeah, they knew. He did admit that, let's do whatever we want. He's not going to fight this ummah at that time. They knew that.